Hello, and welcome to Mumbling with Marybeth. Do you know your astrological sign, or the path to your destiny, or how to live your life to its fullest? How do you react to the phases of the moon? Do you recycle problems in your life? Do you use natural protections? Have you ever wanted to ghost hunt or walk the cemeteries of the United States, or do you want to just develop your inner senses? I was born in the year of the dragon. Join me. Ask me questions. Well, hello. And this is Mumbling with Marybeth. So, most of my show will be around who your astrological sign mates with, who you really shouldn't hang around with, some of the moon phases. So let's get started. Do you know your astrological sign? I'm a Gemini. Do you know who should be put into your path to be your probably best friend or mate? That's something people don't really look at. They first get attracted to people and they commit themselves to that person without really thinking what the consequences will be after a while when they maybe don't get along so well. Attraction is like a magnet, and it's short-lived, very short-lived. So you need to know your astrological sign and who you mate to. And for me, a Gemini is the strongest attraction and isn't the strongest attraction and a lifelong mate is a water sign. So a strong water sign for me would be an Aquarian. And yeah, it worked out. I'm married to an Aquarian and have been for quite some time. So you need to know your path to your destiny and how your life will be to the fullest if you know your right path. And trying to jury-rig it doesn't always work. Okay, it's easy to find out what your sign is, but it's not always easy to find out who you should mate to or who you should be with, or even your friend group. Your friend group is really important because you might have somebody who is very competitive or someone that irritates you, like a person that would actually irritate sometimes. A Gemini might be a Pisces. Okay, so you have to actually know who the signs are that you're competitive with and who you really enjoy being with, and the ones you look up to. Like for me, as a Gemini, I look up to a Leo, but a Leo can also be a challenge for me. So it's kind of one of those good and bad errors, because sometimes a Leo will try and keep me in line. Maybe I need to be in line, I don't know, but the Gemini of me flutters back and forth. Also, your birth order counts. So you need to think about if you're trying to maybe have an association with someone who's like a third born or a second born and you're a firstborn, it's going to be difficult. If you want to have a really good peace in your life and you want to have a good union and you wonder why you just keep having these situations that just don't work out, that's when you should actually study it. And if you're curious, my email's at the top of the page, mumblingwithmarybeth@gmail.com. Send me an email. Maybe I can help you. You need peace in your life and not to be stressed, because when people are stressed, they feel less of a person and they don't respect themselves. And if you can't respect yourself, you won't respect others. It changes your entire life when you feel good about yourself, because you'll feel good about others. And if you have a child in your life that doesn't actually agree with your sun sign, you're really going to have a problem. And the phases of the moon. It's really important if you think about the phases of the moon. So could we put up the moon and think about the moon? When you have a full moon, everything is more intense. You hear about people talking about in a hospital, and more people are arrested, more people are in accidents. It's because the moon is a very strong steering part of your life. And the full moon seems to bring out the crazy in all of us and the strength. Now, I'm not going to talk about spells, but as you know, there are people that do certain things, and the full of the moon is when they do that. So, if it's the full moon and you're worried someone's angry with you, you kind of need to protect yourself. And lavender, if you could put up the lavender, lavender is a very good protection. A lot of people think sage is great. Sage is good for cleansing. So if you need to think about that. Sage is more of a cleanser. There you go. That's lavender. I have probably a 65-foot lavender hedge. That is my hedge that protects my property. So it protects my being. Everywhere I've ever lived in my life, I've had lavender. So you want to think about that. Even if you live in an apartment, you can get a small lavender plant, and you need to have that as your protector. One of the other things you can do with lavender is if someone in your life passes, you can put lavender with them. Or if someone is passing, you can put lavender with them. It's kind of a segue. And it's very important. And if you're going to a graveyard and you're going to do ghost hunting, which is something I really love to do, you're going to want to put some lavender in your pockets. Number one, lavender will help to bring the spirits closer to you. And it's a good protector, as I said before. And it's also got a lot of natural healing properties, and it can calm you down. There's a lot of good things. So when you're thinking about your sign, your life, if your life has a lot of cycling, and maybe some of the cycling might not be that good. Sometimes we have a habit of having difficult times and then recycling into it and recycling into it. And I find that a lot of times that makes people agitated. If they are agitated, make them a poultice of lavender. Oh, hi. I see a person named Tammy who's a Gemini also. And Tammy, are you friends or in a situation with an Aquarian? I'm just curious about that. It's Gemini they're the one sign they either find their mate or they never. You're with a Libra. Okay. A Libra. Oh, the host is a Libra. Okay. A Libra is a very strong person. They're very headstrong, and but they're very faithful. If they find their right mate, they're very faithful, and they care for people very strongly. A Gemini is a little bit more flighty. We are always doing something. A Gemini has to be very busy. Geminis are into clubs and volunteering or crafting or something. They have to have a lot of things going on in their life. And those are important parts of each sign. Like if I were to talk about an Aries, are there any Aries out there? And I don't mean to offend you, but people who are Aries, they like contests. They like couponing. They like to get the best deal. They will drive 20 extra miles just to get a good deal. And I love Aries. One of my very best friends was an Aries, but that was the one part about her that cracked me up. And then I've noticed it carries through. Being an Aries, they have this thing about getting the best deal, buying a car and getting the best deal, things like that. Whereas a Gemini is more of a compulsive buyer, and we don't always look for the best sale. Okay? But we're great people, and we're more fun. Geminis are really fun people, and we're a little out there. I mean, very out there. So just if you want somebody who's really fun, Gemini, but it has to match your sign. Okay. If anybody has any questions, maybe I can answer them about who, they should or shouldn't be with, or why you have problems, especially with a child that's yours. Maybe your child and your sign don't match up at all, and it causes conflict. So then you need to figure out other ways to change the conflict, and maybe keep a moon phase, how they act on the different times of the moon. And so in those times that are good phases for them or you can bond better, which overrides some of the problems of not matching up. I hope that doesn't confuse you. Have you ever thought, if we could put the airplane up, please. Have you ever thought about messages from your loved ones? And that's where we come into maybe spirits. People call them ghosts, apparitions. Did you know that Harry Houdini and his wife, before he passed, had an agreement that if ever he were to die, there would be this one certain sign, and whenever that sign was revealed, she would know that she was really connected to him. You can look it up. And she went to one seance after another, waiting to see if she could actually have someone who would repeat that sign. My brother and I, we knew he was going to pass, and before he passed, we made an agreement that every time I would see a certain airplane, he would know I was there. And believe it or not, during his funeral, that plane went over the cemetery. Freaked me out. But then I knew he was just saying to me, remember the sign. And one time I was driving and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And I was kind of on the cell phone. This was before the cell phone law, okay? But I was on the cell phone and I entered the freeway going the wrong way. And there, overhead was my brother's plane. Flew right over the freeway. And a truck driver stopped and I was able to back up off the freeway. So there was my brother protecting me. I have a sign with my grandmother. She and I agreed on it before she passed many, many, many years ago. I've been to several different seances, and a few have been able to tune into her and repeat what she and I talked about. And I never will reveal the sign or that with you because I'm still waiting to talk to her at length. And just so you know, hello, Alyssa. Now, if you are close to people, or not that you know someone that's going to pass, but perhaps you might want to have a sign so that if one or the other passes, that you'll be able to recognize that they are still there with you. So when my brother is got a plane going near me, there's always a reason. And it's really funny because when I do see the plane, something in my life is askew. And I need to know he's there thinking of me. And probably something that, is important to you. And a lot of people think that they're connecting with spirits and seeing spirits and things like that. Maybe you are. And maybe you like to walk graveyards. I've walked graveyards all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. I have been in the oldest graveyard in the United States. And next week, I'm going to show you some pictures of it. But it is in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And it's really, like I said, it's the oldest cemetery. It's a really great cemetery. And when we were walking through it, I could feel some spirits. But you don't have to be in a cemetery to feel spirits. People pass. Some people do not leave a portion of them that someone might pick up on. Some of them, I don't know, some people say they walk through the light and then they're not available. But I think people are, in my belief and my grandmother's belief, people are always available. You will find when people are passing, people come and speak with that passing person, which leads you to see spirits can come in and out. It's very fluid. Some may choose not to. Some may choose not to come to you because they don't want to frighten you. They're not sure how secure you are. But if you decide you want to be out there ghost hunting, you can do it. And I'm going to, in our next show, talk more about it and equipment that people use when they are hunting for ghosts. But you don't necessarily have to do it in a graveyard. Sometimes you can. It doesn't have to be at night. If you think about it, at night, it might be easier because there's less outside energy. And we are all energy. So at night, there's less conflict of outside energy. And you might have a better reception with them. But if they're still there in the day, they're just not as easy to connect with because you have cars going by and noise and stuff like that. So that energy interferes with their energy. They're trying to apparate and they can't. It's just too hard. But you see people online every once in a while and they have these recordings and you can hear voices calling out. I haven't done that. I haven't heard voices that called out while I was walking in a cemetery in the daytime. These people are doing this in the daytime. I was in an asylum. We were locked into the asylum up in California, in Northern California, and we actually could hear someone speaking to us. We actually got pictures of a person's leg, and it was kind of see-through. So, and that was very dark, and there were only about 12 of us locked in this huge facility. So, every week, I've decided we should talk about ghost hunting because it's kind of a fun hobby. A lot of people have hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, but I do like ghost hunting. I love seances. I love to have my palm read. I can read palms. My grandmother was a psychic medium, and she read cards and palms and sometimes tea leaves, but she always thought those were funny. They're not definitive enough. So if you've ever been to a psychic or you've ever done a seance, then in a seance, someone might approach you. There's nothing to be afraid of. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. The only thing I won't do and I don't like to do is I don't like to read tarot cards. Tarot cards are very definitive. I can read just regular cards and it's not as definitive. But when something's done in a tarot and it's done properly, and I mean properly, it is more definitive. I've watched all these people and they're on TikTok and they're TikTok live and they're taking one tarot card and another, and then they're taking from the one tarot card and giving you a reading. No, that's not how it works. And when you see a real tarot reading, the cards are going to be formed and what will look like the letter H and then read properly. But the reason I don't like to do tarot is, I don't want to see anything bad, and I know that it's put into motion. That to me is a little bit weird. And because I believe in it, and I mean I believe in it, then I don't want to do that. And I do believe in other things, and I believe in religion, to the fact I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but I also believe in the entirety of spirits. So whether you're dead or alive, you have a spirit. I don't believe that you die and you just disappear. I believe that you may someday see this person again. A lot of people like to go to tragic places. You see all these kind of shrines put up along the streets where people have put up lots of candles, flowers and teddy bears. I mean, when Diana passed, huge area of remembrance. But a lot of people, when you're driving down the highway, you can see where people have been in bad automobile accidents or something like that, and they put up a shrine and they put up candles, and people go to these places, maybe not related people, but people go to these places trying to communicate with the person who has passed. I don't know if any of you have tried to do that. I know people who have had signs from things like that. I've actually taken pictures where you can see glowing things, so sometimes when there's something tragic, people do kind of stay there. Sometimes people watch everything all the way to their own funeral. About a year and a half ago, I had a medical emergency, and I actually died on the table. Well, actually 3 times, but one time was longer than all the rest. And you know how they say about the light? Yeah, they're right. There is a light. I saw this light, and it was very crystallized, kind of like if you were looking through a prisms of really bright lights. And then the next thing, I saw a few other things, but then, boom, the next thing you know, I was back. And pissed because I didn't like it. They shocked me back. So, yes, there is a light. I did not follow the light, but yes, there is a light. So I don't know if any of you had that experience. I'd love to speak with anyone who's had a near-death experience. And with children, I believe children sometimes stay around because they're afraid. They're not quite sure where they're going or where they should go. So a lot of people try to communicate with their lost child. And sometimes that's really hard because a child doesn't really know how to communicate back. They have to have a certain strength of energy. So you need to think of that energy. So along with ghost walking and grave walking, you can go to houses. You've seen the light too, Tammy? And when yours was peaceful, I don't know if mine was peaceful. It was pretty though. It was very, very pretty, and I wasn't frightened. So maybe kind of peaceful. I wasn't really frightened of what was happening. I wasn't frightened through the whole thing, so that was what was really weird. Were you frightened? But peaceful, maybe. I just kept looking at it because it was so beautiful. It was really, really pretty. And it was probably just a lot of energy. So you've died twice? Oh, that's kind of scary. 2 times? It was bad enough when it was just that one time on the table for me. Okay, so you weren't scared. That's good. We need to think about protection. As we talked about earlier, the lavender and protection. I wanted to take lavender with me into the operating room, and they wouldn't let me because they said it wasn't, like sanitized or whatever. Oh, so you saw your grandfather and he told you to go back. No one told me to really go back, but I did see people. Some of them I didn't even know. Or maybe I did in a past life. I don't know. I'm still kind of swaying back and forth about past lives. I've studied it a lot. My grandmother believed in past lives. And usually whatever she believed into, when you're raised by your grandmother, you kind of tend to go that way also. Well, hello. I see a lot of people checking in. I'm glad that you joined us. In about 1 minute, we're going to have a break, and I hope you'll stay. And if you have questions, if you have private questions, you can email me at mumblingwithmarybeth@gmail.com. And if you want to just type out a question, like I have Fallon who's saying hello. And just anybody who has questions, I'll try and answer them for you. And one of the things we're talking about is protection. So if you're thinking that you want to go to a graveyard or a haunted house or a house you think might be haunted, be sure you take some sort of protection. I always take crystals. So you were 18 when you had a near death? That's scary. I have a crystal ball here that used to belong to my grandmother, and I had it surrounded in little gold bands so that I could wear it for protection. So it says we will be back in 3 minutes. So I hope you'll stay with me and you'll come back and we'll answer some more questions.
In the distance, light years from tomorrow, far beyond yesterday. She is watching, heart aching with sorrow. She is broken as she waits, hoping when all is said and done, we learn to love and be as one. Oh, starlight, don't you cry, we're gonna make it right before tomorrow. Oh, watching, heart aching with sorrow. She's broken as she waits.
Well, I see we're back. I hope you enjoyed that little break. Now, what I want to talk to you about is angels. Could you put the angel up, please? So, angels are among us. I put angels all around my house, around my yard. Hi, Alyssa. I believe in angels. I have seen them in action when, I don't know, when I was 5 years old. I was hit by lightning. I was in a car. The car was hit by lightning. All the hair on the side of my head burned off. My eyebrows, everything. I've always had a wonky eyebrow after that. Anyways, I could feel someone holding on to me. And I believe it was my guardian angel. Now, you have a guardian angel. Everyone has a guardian angel. Have you ever connected with your guardian angel? All you have to do is talk to him. There's one of my angels in my yard. Isn't that one adorable? So, what I want you to do is just actually talk to your guardian angel. Find out who that person is. If you want your guardian angel to do something for you, you have that opportunity. You can talk to your guardian angel. Ask them to protect you. Ask them questions. And believe it or not, in small, subtle ways, you'll get answers. A lot of people believe that when they see butterflies or dragonflies, that is a possessed angel. So do you ever ask your guardian angel for something and then watch to see if you see hummingbirds or butterflies, or even better yet, a feather? And with that, you can guide your life. If you know that angels are around you, then you know your life is pretty much on track. If you see nothing but darkness, you better kind of go with your guardian angel and ask them, what is it I'm doing wrong to have all this darkness? I see this with people getting arrested a lot, people having arguments, disagreements, domestic violence, probably because you're not requesting your guardian angel to keep you safe, to keep you so that you are in a track that will make everything in your life positive. I don't always ask my guardian angel for help, but when I find myself getting really stressed out, I go straight for that. And that's why I keep angels around my house, because it reminds me, oh my gosh, I need to ask my guardian angel. I need to ask them what I need to do, or what am I doing that's just not in focus? Why is everything in disruptiveness? Why am I not feeling well? What am I doing? And kind of diagnose yourself. Diagnose your anger. Sometimes we just have days we're really angry. Step back. Think about it. Redirect your life. Ask the guardian angel to redirect your life. If there's someone you're having anger with, ask your guardian angel to talk to their guardian angel and see how it might change in your life. Now let's go back to ghost walking. Let's say you want to go to a cemetery, and if I were going to do a ghost walk, the first thing I would do, unless I'm on vacation where I don't have extra time, but if I plan one near my home, I like to go and walk around the cemetery. And I like to choose older cemeteries where they have a headstone that's upright, I like to communicate with them. Sometimes I like to go over to the Veterans Cemetery. All of their headstones are flat. And I just walk around and I wait till I feel someone. I feel someone attracting me to them. When I go to the cemetery to put flowers on my brother's grave, and I'm going to tell you that place is humongous, I can always walk to my brother. Through thousands of graves, I can always walk directly to my brother, and I can feel him and know he's there. I haven't been to my sister's grave in probably 45 years. And I know that I could drive there and I could walk directly to her grave. Because when I was a little kid, I remember visiting her, and in my mind, I heard this little girl singing. And after we left, I said to my dad, "Did you hear that little girl singing?" My dad looked at me really strange, and he said, "Who was singing?" I go, "I don't know, but I was standing by her grave, and she was singing, and constantly singing." And he said, "What was she singing?" I go, "Silent Night. She was just kept singing Silent Night." And my mom looked at me and she goes, "That's what they played at your sister's funeral." It was her favorite song. So that's the kind of feeling you have to have. Go around till you feel something or hear something. Then, if the energy's not strong enough, you need to go at night and find that particular grave and stand there, and you can just talk back and forth. Talk back and forth to them. And you'll communicate. And that's communicating with the dead. Okay? Now, once a week, I want to give you a really great place to visit. So I'm starting out on the East Coast in Virginia. Could we have the picture of, okay, there's the house. Now, I'm going to give you the address of this house. Everybody get a pen if you're near Virginia. And it's 22 South Coulter Street in, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Stantation, Virginia. Now, can we see Charlotte, please? Now, this is a house. And now, Charlotte has been at this house. Look at her. If you go there, you might meet her. Okay, I'll repeat the address. If you don't get it, you don't have an ink pen, you can always email me at my mumblingwithmarybeth@gmail.com. But I will repeat the address. It's 22 South Coulter, Coulter Street, Stantation, Virginia. Okay, now, this house is a museum, and it's an event location. And this young lady, well, she has been there. People say they feel her. They've heard her. It's exciting. A friend of mine owns this house, and it's a Victorian era home. And if you really want to go, you need to look it up online. Somehow maybe we can post a link for you, or email me. That's the best way. Email me so that you can go and visit. Her name is Charlotte Kaufman. She walks the halls because this is the home she's pretty much only known. I have not been there, but the house is owned by a good friend of mine. So you can go online and you can look it up, contact them, and see if you can go and visit. And I want you to see if you can feel Charlotte. And I do plan on going there this summer because Charlotte and I have to talk, you know. But look at her. So now that you see her, this is our first official haunted house that I'm inviting you to have fun. Every week I'll give another haunted house and a different location, and hopefully I hit all areas. If you have a particular area you want me to give you a haunting place, make sure you email me at mumblingwithmarybeth@gmail.com. Ask me for somewhere that I know is haunted in your area. And yes, my friends live there. And yes, she is their ghost. And my friend Leslie, I'm sure, will make sure that you go through the museum and hopefully you'll find her. You can look up the history of the house online. I will give you a link. If you email me, I will give you a link to the museum, and you can call and set up a time that you can go there and hopefully feel or see Charlotte. Okay, so we're putting up, yes, I think that's the website for her house. Okay? And look at the house. Isn't it gorgeous? And it's a museum. It's in Victorian fashion. You can read the whole article. You'll just love it. But I want you to go there so that you can meet Charlotte. And I have been to Massachusetts, and I've been to Salem, of course, and places in Texas. There are some great hauntings in Washington and Oregon. California is full. California is just full of hauntings. Utah has multiple places of hauntings. You don't always have to go to a ghost town to find ghosts. I live in the orange groves in California, in Riverside, and our orange groves are known for sad to say, I don't want to offend anyone, but they're a dumping ground for bodies. Some very famous serial killers have left their bodies here near my home. So unfortunately, sometimes when I'm driving up to my house, I can every once in a while see someone. Yeah. So there's different hauntings in this area. I also have this really great haunting that I will be giving you eventually of a home where a man decided he was going to get into the building through the chimney and pass there. And if you go there, you will hear the fear in his voice as he's calling for help. So please visit the website to read of the history of the house. So now, like I said, every week I'm going to give you a new haunting. And every week I'd like to give you a little assignment. Okay? So research the area near your home. Try and find a cemetery near your home. Try walking through it. It doesn't have to be in the nighttime, but just try walking through it and listening. You need to listen very carefully. Now, I don't want you to be walking in it if it's locked and you are trespassing. And if you're going to go in the evening, you may have to either go in there without full permission or get permission so that you can walk amongst the graves. Here in Riverside, we have the Evergreen Cemetery, and it's a very old cemetery with a lot of history, and they actually have tours in the evening. And so if you live near Riverside, you might want to go on one of those tours. But in most cities, you will find different ghost walks, cemetery walks, things like that. San Diego, great ghost walks down there. So make sure you email me at MumblingWithMarybeth so I can give you a great fun outing for you in your area. And another great idea and a good assignment for you is to think about any of the issues you have, maybe with friends or family, and let's try and work it out through your horoscope and through your personalities. And that often gives you the strength that you need, okay, for your sign and for you to be able to be in control. And if you are going to walk in a graveyard, I think if you should go with a person who's like-minded, not someone who's a naysayer. And that's really, really important. If you don't want to have conflict. So if you have to walk alone. Maybe do it in the dusk time so that you won't be afraid until you're ready and you're used to it. There are not a lot of actual haunted houses everywhere that you can tour through legally. My friends and I, we always set up our tours, and where you can actually spend time in a haunted house. And you see those on TV now. Well, we were actually party to one of those years ago. And I'll speak about that at another time. Oh, so there's a nice graveyard. I like graveyards. When I travel, I like to go to different graveyards and see if I feel anything. But remember, not everyone stays with where they are buried. Some people stay in the house where they passed. I have a hard time going through hospitals because I can feel so many people. And I hear noises that I know aren't there. So if you ever remembered, there was a movie years ago, and it had Alison Dubois in it. Well, it was about her. And she had problems going through different haunted areas and hospitals because she could feel the people. One of my really good friends is James Von Prague, and you might want to look him up. He has different seminars and he travels, and for sure he is a psychic medium. And a lot of times he's on Facebook and he does live production. Somebody in Long Island. Hello and welcome. I've been in New York, and your subways are very haunted. And a lot of your buildings down in Manhattan are very haunted. And the Empire State Building, you can feel a lot at the Empire State Building. So that's a great place if you want to have a lot of fun. So I see that my time is kind of waning. I want to talk to you about next week. Next week, I'm going to talk about my trip to Salem, Massachusetts. And I'll put up some newspaper articles, if I can find them still, of what happened to my friends and I when we were in Salem, Massachusetts, and the Queen of the Witches. So there really is a Queen of the Witches there in Salem, Massachusetts. And she's very old. I hope she's still around, but she was there when we were there, and it was kind of a crack up, the whole thing that happened to us. But in Salem, you can feel a lot of the spirits in Salem, Massachusetts. So I'm going to have some pictures for you for next week's show, and talk about a visit. Maybe you want to do a really fun vacation still this summer to Salem, Massachusetts. A lot of people like to go there during October, but in October they actually are like any other harvest festival type place. You're not going to feel the real spirits because they're trying to do their commercial spirits, but it's still fun. It's still extremely fun, and so that's for another time. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Well, then I want to talk to you just a little bit before we leave about what's this right here? Can't wait for next week. Well, I hope you'll join us. I want to talk a little bit about how you feel a spirit. Do I do readings? Sometimes. Yes. I can read palms, and I can do interpretive, and like I said, cards, but I don't like to do tarot cards, but regular cards. But that's not actually what I plan on doing on this platform, because doing readings on this platform when you can't really talk to me, you're just sending me text messages, is a little bit different. But sometimes, I'll talk with the staff, and maybe they can help me with how that would work out. But sometimes I can feel someone's intensity of their issue, and I can read it just intuitively, all right? And there are people that are very sensitive, and it's like there's a lot of psychic readers who can feel things, or they say they see things around you, and then there are those that really do. Like, okay, James, I know for sure, James von Prague, he is real. If he tells you there's someone standing by you, and he'll describe them, he's real. He doesn't feed into asking you questions. He just knows. And there are a couple other psychics. I've gone to at least 3 or 4 different famous ones to their shows, maybe more. There's one lady who does really great readings, and her name is Tracy Nash. You might want to look her up. Very good psychic reader. I'm a psychic reader, but I don't do it all the time. And it's one of those skills that you have to hone. You have to constantly be doing it to draw the energy. I don't constantly do it. My grandmother did. Every weekend, she had lines of people that came to her house, and she did readings, and she was very good. So I only have a few more minutes. Remember, next week, come and join me. I will talk to you about the Queen of the Witches. Bye. Hello, and welcome to Mumbling with Marybeth. Do you know your astrological sign, or the path to your destiny, or how to live your life to its fullest? How do you react to the phases of the moon? Do you recycle problems in your life? Do you use natural protections? Have you ever wanted to ghost hunt or walk the cemeteries of the United States? Or do you want to just develop your inner senses? I was born in the year of the dragon. Join me. Ask me questions.